So, hello. Time for
Hello,
our
Ricardo.
intro.
Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday evening, and surprise, surprise, we are live again. No outtakes today, such as the platform is willing to serve. My system was still cooking and preparing my dinner. And now we have the pleasure to see today Ricardo Saltz Gulko. I hope I pronounced it properly, Ricardo. And it is my pleasure, sort of, well, an opportunity for Ricardo to fix it and that I learn it fast and will never make it wrong again. And the interesting thing is, Thomas introduced us to that organization ECXO. And he said, there is something coming up which is really cool, and we should have that guy on our show. And so
thanks so much
that you are here. So
yes.
Tell us a bit about you, Ricardo.
Let the man talk.
Okay, so I live in Germany, as I think 1/3 of us here, only Thomas not, and I lead a company that calls Globalis. Is a boutique company which helps companies to transform customer experience. I'm not going to talk about that so much because I don't think that the topic that you bring me here. But what we do is really to help companies in customer and employee experience in order to ignite innovation. That's our expertise. And fortunate and unfortunate, only big companies call us. So we are a small practice, so that's a good thing. But no startup in my life called us. The ECXO, that was actually your question. We created the ECXO 3 years ago, plus minus, and we launched it 1 year ago. The intention and the reason we created that is to help companies in Europe and beyond Europe, in the Middle East, etc., to improve their customer experience and their employee experience and find ways to ignite innovation and discuss all the kinds of subjects related to customer experience. As I assume you know that Germany 5 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, before SAP acquired Qualtrics, we was not talking about customer experience. So when they did the acquisition, I was super happy about that because I said, oh, that's the time. You remember I told you that, Thomas, and that was really cool. So the goal of ECXO is to help corporates, and it's not a consulting. We are going to help with education material and events. We have lots of events. We are planning our first large event I think it will be between March and May. And our goal is really to differentiate because we really don't believe that one model of customer experience matches all needs of everybody in the world. I think there are different models. I think Europe needs different models than other regions. And that's the reason we created that, because we are going to try to tackle those issues that are specific for us, different cultures, data interpretation, how we perceive, how you call this thing, expectation. Everybody in Europe is different. Countries are in different levels of maturity. So therefore, we created this ECXO to help on that. Did I explain it, or you need something else?
It was a good start. What is different in Europe as compared to other regions?
So first of all, we are different cultures. We are not one culture. It's not all one fits all. Yes, that's the second thing. In different countries, as I mentioned, we have different levels of maturity in CX. Mm-hmm. So our idea is to bring is not in one day, obviously, but to make the right work in order to bring that to the same level or to help countries to develop faster, etc., etc. The other thing we focus a lot is different behaviors, things that in the US will be very nice. Here imagine you are in a dealer buying your car, and they make this party when you got your car. You think that is really strange here. So there are so many different things that are. I'm just giving a short example, but there are so many different things here that you could make easier, you could make better. And one of the problems that I see is that all the customer experience is based in all the cases, Amazon, Apple's. Why we don't have other companies that we have in Europe? You have in France, you have in Germany, you have everywhere great companies delivering or trying to deliver great experiences. Why don't you write about that? And that's one of our goals, is to create cases, business cases for those companies that nobody saw yet. That should be part of our work as well. And also research and things that we are looking now for partners to do with us.
That is important work, I think. One of the problems that I have seen with CX globally is that the initiatives are always driven by product vendors. It's coming from Oracle. It's coming from, well, it wasn't, excuse me.
It's
It
hard to
wasn't
talk
coming
about
from
CX,
SAP
right?
until recently. It's coming from someone who's got a product to sell regarding customer experience, but it wasn't coming from a product agnostic position like ECXO does. That's admirable. I like that. Thanks for doing the work.
Yeah, there's not. We are very far away from where I would like, and all the ambassadors wants to be. In 1 year from now, we just started, and we have many difficulties in the first year. I have a huge accident here. I did a surgery. So this took me 3 months. I did absolutely nothing related to ECXO, and other people took over. The ambassadors took over to help me.
Good to see you back up again. So ready to do the work. What do you
Slowly.
think
Go for it.
What do you think are major distractors here in Europe? Is here with me being in Seattle, but here in Europe.
Look, for example, I don't like to talk about empathy because empathy sounds the basic thing, but I think many companies that are delivering B2B and B2C, there are problems with empathy. There's problems how we engage with the customer, especially in B2B, and the value that you have to provide, not focusing just in the sales. The sales is a result of a great work, a great experience with you. And that's something that concerns me a lot, how the companies are doing here. Not all of them, and if you take the global companies, SAP, Software AG, etc., they are doing well, but there are 1 billion other companies that are not doing that well, and that's one of the things that I see as a kind of problem. Empathy is a problem. I think the way that the companies perceive experience. I went to a company here in Munich that probably that's a huge telecommunications company, and they have those beautiful words written in the wall, and but they was not doing what they was saying. And how you can have the committed employee to deliver a great experience for whoever it is, doesn't matter if it's B2C or B2B. If you're just having words there, you need, I think you need great culture, because it's not just to say yes, you have to help the people to grasp and to live based in the culture that you have. So there are great companies doing that, and there are many other companies, and I think it's the vast majority in Europe, not just in Germany, that are not doing that. I don't know if what is your thoughts about that?
Well, now you're right up Ralph's alley, as you mentioned one of his most favorite words, empathy. So
yeah, empathy for me looks like an empathy word, exactly. But I feel a lot. I feel a lot lack of empathy here for many different things in terms of services. Mm-hmm. Yes, and I see also the difference from the time that I did not speak in German and the time that I started to speak German. So this was a very different experience for me, yes, and it was really traumatic in the beginning.
The aspect I emphasize here is that I talk about empathic CRM, empathisches CRM. and I talk about this in 2010. Nobody was talking about let's say, the customer as the center of the interest. The invention of customer centricity came then from the United States, 2010, 2011, 2012. And then we had the human being in the center of customer focus and customer first and mobile first and all that shit. But the interesting thing is what kept us up and running is that coming up with March 2020, at a sudden, empathy become mandatory. And through all that research you have seen from Genesis in special, and we have several guests here and some research presentation, and all the words we had, for instance, with Liz Miller and other chaps, everybody is quoting how important in a situation which we have now again, such as we do not meet in a camera studio, we meet virtually with our audience. And it is now in our ability to keep them informed, to keep them focused, to get them some moments of inspiration, or if we goof, they are bored and they leave us. So the interesting thing is, empathy is what is in their interest. It's one of the perspectives. Yeah? And driving CX forward in this multicultural melting pot Europe is an initiative which I found honestly very thrilling. And so I was asking myself, how many experts have you already won as, let's say, community parts and as ambassadors?
So we have 716 people in the community right now.
Oh.
We have some challenges. I was expecting to have in the first year like 2,000, but we have some issues in the way, as I mentioned before. But we have 700. That's a good beginning, yes.
Yeah.
And we are playing here a kind of chicken and egg game. Yes, we need more people on board in order to get the resources that we need with sponsors in order to advance the community and on roadmap that is really develop a kind of certification and also trainings for corporates. That's the focus that we have. As I mentioned, also business case with different companies, research, all those things we are looking for. And, all the beginnings, as my mom says, is very hard. All the beginnings are hard, yes, and I think your mom's as well. So we expected that, yes. We did not expect to be so hard because I had the accident, so that was really terrible. But, it's advancing, maybe not in the rhythm that we wish, that I wish to do that, but I think we are advancing next year faster than this year. First year, we use it to adapt ourselves to understand what's the community about. We have issues, yes, we have issues, but every startup have issues. So that's okay for us. We know the problems as well. We did a good analysis, just comes out a result of internal for ambassadors survey that we did. So the feedback was divided. And I knew that as well, so that's okay. That's okay. We have to just aim to make this better and better all the time.
Mentioned this word ambassador a couple of times, so you know it by meaning. Probably governmental people know it by meaning.
Oh yeah.
Right,
I have to explain that.
They might have a different idea, and our audience yet another one. So, what is an ambassador for ECXO?
So in this ECXO, we have ambassadors in every country because we don't have $100 million to expand as and to announce ourselves. So we have to use different marketing methods. So we invited different people that are influencers in their countries to help us in the beginning, yes, and hopefully to help us in the way forward, in order to be easier for us as that's the work the ambassador have. Besides that, they have some other we request other things, but it's not about request. They are not working for us. They are making us a favor, and we appreciated that very much. Yes, and we are trying to advance that. So we need help because this is for a non-profit, and we need also to bring more ambassadors to get more volume of people, as people that can bring people on board.
So what does an ambassador do?
Yeah, do different ones have different roles?
Exactly that. Yeah. So there are people that are stronger in something, let's say in writing, so they write. So there are people that like more to. Now we are launching a new podcast with Christopher, and so he's going to make the podcast. So I produced all the things. He organized that. We're going to do a podcast to interview all the members. As we are trying to engage the members, as we did not have the exact time to do that in the beginning. So now we are working very strongly on that. We have some media partners which are helping us also to interviewing our members and our ambassadors. So we give exposure, yes, and we for ambassadors and for members as we grow. It's far away still from where I want to be, but we started already with that, and now I mentioned to you the interviews, the podcast. So slowly we are going to advance.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have something that calls the T sessions that I think you told me that we need people there to present. So we have so many experts and executives inside the community because executives and leaders are our focus. And so we're inviting everyone to come and present in something that we call the T sessions, the ECXO T sessions. Yes. So I think this can be very interesting because we have top people. You have Silvana that you already interviewed, Graham that is a great, super knowledgeable. He's very good, and we have many people in this caliber, and this helps a lot. Yes. So I am not yet prepared to present because I'm just recovering. That's the first talk that I have in a podcast or something like interactive like that for many months, yes, since the Corona started, except those small interactions that I had with you, Thomas, and other people, but one. So this is plus minus the situation. What is an ambassador supposed to do? If they can help, they have contacts, they can open doors for us with sponsors. They can. There are so many things that everybody can do, So that's the only request we have is to bring people on board, 150 people per year, which is not a high request. And the rest is they do if they want. Yes, they have some rewards from that, and they can grow with us. We hope we are going to get a board. We are going to be an organized organization, as we're still in the early stages. So.
150 per year. I think you're aiming low. I would expect that you would be able to get far more than that. Just
me too.
Yeah.
Me too, but there are countries. I'll give you an example. Finland, for example, they have 5 million people.
Don't make the job too hard, Marshall. Ricardo is asking Ralph and I to become ambassadors.
So
115 Chicago friend. Then we talk. You go to a beer house and get 150 signed up.
Exactly.
I'm seeing the benchmark.
Depending on how drunk they are, I can have that by next week.
That's perfect. You are ambassador already. You are hired.
I mean,
you are hired.
We're not especially European, but yeah, a name's a name.
Ricardo is grateful for an international basis, and the nice little aspect that a lot of Europeans are going to that melting pot, which is called the United States of America. If you see that 250 years of history, mostly coming from either the Native Americans or those guys which dropped in, so there is a lot of cultural things, such as that German beer house. I recall from the map, and it's very interesting to see the opportunity, how you have a different association of customer benefit, behavioral attitudes in the States, and even that the routes were European one, they are a lot faster over there. Things are developing more smoothly. And yes, they do not have concerns with sharing data as we do have here.
Exactly. That's a great point.
We have
Elaborate.
Elaborate on that.
We're just
So-
too stupid to understand them.
Well, unless you are
I think
Californian.
the approach from the US is obviously is more liberal, yes, comparing with Europe. We have to PRS here. That is really even for my doctors, I have to assign that. And but in customer experience, I think in Germany and Europe in general. Okay, let's talk in general about Europe. I think we are more focusing on getting things done.
Yeah.
Than to really spending the time writing, except Thomas, which is always writing, but he have this ability. Not everybody have the ability of writing, and he writes really well.
Thank you.
And I read your articles, you know that. So I think Europeans are different, and that's also okay. I don't think we have to be looking for being like there, or like China, or like the US or somebody else. I don't care. We are what we are. Yes, and that's great, because if it was not like that, probably we would not have quality products that we produce and great technology and very unusual ideas that in the end of the day, great value for customers. And so I think it's great, the diversity of Europe.
Yeah.
You know, diversity, and you go to SAP offices, you have 100 people there, everyone is different from different countries. I love that. This is very common here. I don't think that Europe is really in the place, even though we say that, we don't need to say, oh, we are inclusive and diverse, because we don't have situations such as George Floyd and things like that. I think we are very inclusive naturally. Obviously we have a history, etc.
Yeah.
But Europe is trying to be more inclusive, and I think we are. If you go to ECXO, I never mention about inclusivity. Sometimes when it's necessary, I mention. But for me, is a given. I was born in Brazil. I'm Israeli. I live in Holland. I live in South Korea. I live here. I live in the US. So for me, since I am a kid, for me, black, blue, I don't care about those things. Not my focus. And I think the majority of the Europeans are like that. There are people that are not like that, but I think the majority is good.
The point I was starting to emphasize is that we have the trend that some stuff is coming earlier from the United States, is dropping in, and that, as you mentioned, 3 years ago, CX was not such a topic, and now we are in the middle of a wave, of a hype. And that hype is nearly over in the US under the, let's say, if we make a comparison with big data, when we started to talk here about big data, everybody in the States was yawning and was bored to death. So now they have CDP as the rebranding and the nice wrapping, and everybody runs again. So it's that Phänomenian, the rough translation, the Sau durchs Dorf jagen, chase the pig through the valley or the town. Yeah. You give it a nice new name, a nice wrapping, and surprise, you can sell it for the double at the price. What I want to point out is that we have here in Europe even that we seem to be in some cases some laggards. We do it from a different angle. We do it in a different quality, and we do it sometimes in a differentiated bandwidth and depth. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think I'll give you example that is practical. A CCO in the US, not all obviously, but here is very important to understand the product, the services that you are selling. Not just understand that you have to develop the culture and you have to have this kind of metrics, etc., but understand deeply the products. Germans naturally are focusing details. I don't know why it's like that, but naturally is like that. So you have to include those things in developing a strategy for CX, and also educational program. Yes. We in the ECXO, we decided to create something else, but to use the elements of customer experience, because customer experience is not pillars. as some people and some organizations mention all the time, is this kind of different parts that are evolving all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, we believe that this is a kind of elements that's evolving every second year. You are adding something else. Before digital experience, digital transformation was not part of CX. Today, it totally is. Experience design was always actually, but technology design, technology experience, or design experience. So many different things that you can just, I can mention 1,000 buzzwords here, but that's not the focus. I think we are very different. And what is different in Germany and in France, which sometimes I find very similar, even though the language is totally different, yes, in certain aspects. I think Italy is totally different, and Croatia is totally different, and Greece is totally different. So we aim to close this gap, understanding the differences. You are right. The US started those things. Yes, the US have the initiative always to come with philosophies and business names and buzzwords. But I don't think that we are not prepared or we are not good, because we have so many great companies here. Even though, we can take, let's take Zalando. Zalando created a B2C in that case, a great experience. I really like them. I don't buy with them because not my style of things, but I really like how they are doing things. Yes, and how they are treating the company as an experience itself. I think is very good. SAP does a great job, even though they are a vendor. Yes, they have their own objectives to grow, and that's fair enough. So this is I think Europe is different, and I think that's okay to be different. We don't have to be like the Americans. We don't have to be like the Chinese. We are what we are, and that's great. I don't know if you agree with that, but we have many things that you brought to the world that if we was not here, nobody would have. So that's a great thing from European culture.
I agree with it. There is this problem that we here in the United States seem to try to solve our problems through marketing. If we slap a new name on it, try and bring it to a different audience, and figure that the old solution will be the good solution. I don't think that we do enough actual problem solving. And two approaches may not match up because they have different names, and the proponents will spend so much time fighting over which name to use that they don't actually make progress. That's why a working group, a nonprofit like ECXO makes sense to me. You're focused on a result, and hopefully over time the effect that you can have will be to create a common language for customer experience.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Experience too, and give us a place from which we can move forward.
And this leads me to talk with you about the problems that we deal with. Europe, even though we call European Union, and obviously the UK is part of it, even though they left us, but we are all in Europe. Russia is part, everybody's part.
Yep.
Yeah. We are not united. It's very difficult, and that's the big challenge that we have, to bring everybody on board, because they have their own agenda. Yeah, everybody have their own agenda. And why are you going to support this if I am already on that? So there are many different challenges here that we have to see how we are going to overcome with time. But I'm really sometimes get concerned about those details, that every culture is different, every culture is in a different stage, and they understand CX in a very different way. Yeah. So hopefully we are going to be able to do that, but I think we're still far away from this day that I can come to you here and say, yes, we did a great thing,
But what is your definition in the moment of customer experience, Ricardo?
So my definition, I don't have a definition, to be very honest. What I can tell you is the following. I like very much the Gartner definition, all right? And I think is the best definition. If you want, I can read for you, but I'm not going to do that, waste your time. But
read it.
I have here a page because I don't remember definitions. So that's what I can tell you. But I believe that they have the most close to what is real CX, which is customer perception, emotion, yes, during one interaction and during many interactions, yes, when you are interacting with your people, in terms of employees, when you are interacting with supply chain, when you are interacting with processes of the company, design of the company, all those things that do create adoption and grow are extremely important. And I think they nailed that so well in their definition.
Okay, now let me throw a wrench, because why do you prefer it over Paul Greenberg's definition? Customer experience is how a person perceives a customer or a company over time.
That's also good.
It's very short and very concise.
Who defined that one? who Thomas did that one?
That's
Paul Greenberg.
Paul Greenberg, yeah, Paul Greenberg. Yeah, look, Paul Greenberg is Paul Greenberg.
Paul Greenberg.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I have that, but I had that for many years already.
The background is a challenge to the book cover, my friend.
It
if
is.
you show it a bit closer to the camera, we have a chance. Because
Or I can just use the earlier edition.
Oh, yeah.
I had this one, but
that's old.
Yeah,
many years ago.
Meanwhile, we are talking about the commonwealth of self-interest to make some advertisement here.
I'm in both of them. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
At least he showed you that he has more than 2 books. Yeah,
that's great.
He showed that he has 2 books, not more.
I just launched my list of books from last year.
Yeah.
Well, without a joke, the point is that it is very interesting to see that Paul, as a senior in CRM, not only of age, but as a mentor for a lot of us in a way, and as a pathfinder, is coming with that very empathic, from my perspective, point of view of CX. Whereas Gardner, for me, is like, yeah, okay.
It's more rigid. You are totally right. You are totally right. I agree with you. Paul Greenberg is the top. Yes, everybody loves
while
him.
we're talking about ambassadors, Paul is the ambassador.
He is.
He's the godfather.
Right. He's not an ambassador. He's a godfather. Yeah.
I invited him, by the way, to be involved, but he did not accept probably my invitation. But I love him. I really like him. Very nice personality.
He's quite busy.
If you see his hourly rate, you understand, because he is not so interested in non-profit jobs. Honest answer.
I got you. Now I know. Okay, now I know.
That's probably a bit unfair, but he does a lot non-profit. But anyway, so
in different areas, and he is very focused on, let's say, I would say it's a mission. He's still on that mission to get people to see the best of a lot of things. And this is what he tries in his show, CRM Pliers with Brent Leary, very nicely.
Yeah, I saw the show.
It's a lot of blueprinting for a lot of chaps, even us, to see how you can make the best out of these formats for the audience.
Yeah.
And with COVID around the corner, it was an opportunity. Love it or leave it. Yeah. And Gardner, for instance, is I don't pay them. So if they say something useful, okay, I use it. Elsewise, if the definition is not to my liking, I put it either under the microscope. What are they telling me? So this is the reason why I asked you for the interpretation and your definition of CX, because if it's not a public version of Gardner knowledge, and people cannot read it after our show, it would have been a cool exercise if we pinpoint down and putting it in the comments where you found that cool explanation and definition you like as much as we discussed the one as another perspective from Paul, which is
there are so many perspectives and many different organizations saying different things. So they plus minus say, I think, the same thing, just with different wording. I must say that one that you mentioned from Paul is really good because it's very short. For me, it will be easier to, especially to remember like 3 phrases that I wrote here. So that would be great. But it's plus minus the same thing.
Of course, it's public. They have a glossary, and they recently changed it, by the way. So the last experience definition of theirs that I've seen was far more transactional. So, but well, it is. So some things they make available for free.
Yeah.
But a totally different question. Let me. Well, my job is sometimes to throw wrenches, right? So. If everybody is talking about CX, doesn't that mean that it has reached the term has reached its zenith, or is about to decline?
Many people are saying that. I really don't know. I don't predict when companies or people ask me about predictions. It's very hard to do that.
The predictions, so it's in general. So
maybe I don't know what will happen, but CX is here to stay, yes, because everything's experience in the end of the day. Just how we perceive that is different, and you have so many things that can include everything's experience in the end of the day about our lives, about business. Doesn't matter if it's B2B or B2C. I think Europe is just starting CX. We are very far away. You can see, for example, that we don't have many CCOs. We have some, but it's not like in the US that like most corporate have to have a CCO. Now they are getting in Swiss, I saw many things about CCOs. Here, Germany, France, they are starting. So I do think that we have a long way to go. Maybe in the US is declining because becomes the main thing that CEOs care about, because they understand that that's great growth and loyalty and adoption as in the end of the day.
I'm just asking whether this is an indication that it's about to decline.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. That's the only thing that I can tell you. I don't know that, but I don't believe. I believe that the one thing that is different right now, we have many people that are saying that they are experts in CX. That's something else. And that's maybe can be a problem in the future, because everybody is now a CX expert. And I don't believe that everybody... I'm sorry?
Don't trust them if they can't prove it.
That's one aspect, but many people say that now. So you see the quantities of people coming and the people talking about CX. So I find this really nice because it's creating opportunities. On the other hand, I ask myself, how many people now suddenly they are CX experts? That's a question that I think is okay to ask.
That is the reason why an academic German always goes for definition, goes for some more precision in detail and certification. Such as if you do not have a stamp and a certificate on it, nobody will take you for real. Yeah. Therefore, such an organization like yours has the opportunity to set standards. And this is one of the aims, as I understood.
Yeah. That's the hope. Okay. Yeah, that's the hope. And
to get a common understanding of what is here and what's there, and what they throw into the pot, such as the brand or the branding or the title consultant is nothing. Yeah, Unternehmensberater is nothing. If you have a diploma on something, then you at least have to show that you have done some work for it. Yeah,
which is the German understanding. Yeah,
if you have a piece, if you can show a piece of paper, not the Spanish, not the French.
That's right.
But that it's a perspective that
we love our certifications.
If you have the understanding of the new educational rules, which we have in Europe, that in the European adopted bachelor and master degrees, which are ruled, this is now a common measurement. And this is, for instance, helping and setting standards. So if you go with that, something with Bologna, something with that Bologna Act, you can move easily during your studies in the countries of the European Union, and you can go for same study areas and all that stuff. Such a standard would be very cool. And for instance, if we think about that the ECXO is setting such standards and is, for instance, offering services under these standards, that would be massive improvement in getting the right consultants for the right job and something like an international or at least European marketplace.
So here, first of all, there's many, I agree partly with you, but there are so many certifications right now that the value is not that amazing out there. And we aim, yes, that's one of the objectives, therefore we need the sponsors to create one kind of certification for Europe, focus also in design, because this is a big part of things here. And also, as I mentioned, workshops, etc. But there are so many certifications, you know, and nothing is really standard, because I can give today a certification for Thomas, and it'll be a certificate anyway that somebody decided to do. Is nothing is really based in standards and those kinds of things. And even though we like in Europe a lot of standards, not always is the best. You know, we have companies giving that, we have organizations, we have associations giving that. But as one person that did the test of, for example, the Americans, I really found that no value in making a certification which was very shallow, was very easy to pass.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to do something very different. I'm not saying that it's more difficult, but something focusing what we need, more practical, not just beauty or to seduce you to come to my certification, but something different. And we're looking now for partners to work with us on that.
Maybe we're looking too deep into the professional end of it. From what I've heard and what I've experienced, there isn't a whole lot of education in universities about the customer end of business.
Totally right.
Yeah. If you have an MBA, you know how to run a business. You understand a little bit of accounting. You understand a little bit of management. You don't know dick about customer experience. And
I think in Europe is very right what you're saying. And in the US, they are talking. There's one I know one university giving something, but
there are a couple
here,
little courses, but they're not really built into a larger degree program, and that concerns me. And I'm hoping it's something that can be changed.
That's another great point that you make, because I thought about that the work here is 10 years, because you don't change a kind of mentality of the understanding first from the customer point of view, that he's the customer and everything is for him. In the end of the day, he pays the bills. Yes, and from the companies as well. So it's a long time to work to create something that will combine in terms of quality, certification, but that will be answering for the needs here. So it will take time, but I hope we are going to get there. Did I answer your question, or I have the impression I didn't?
I'm not even sure we had a question.
This is a conversation, not an interview.
Okay.
It's not all
and there is one university, as it is my alma mater, I keep very much the contact to the University of Cologne. And there is a professor, Werner Reinhardtz, and he's doing all his lectures in English since ages. And he's coming out of the CRM research area. And that is one lighthouse which we have aside of some private universities which are in that topic. But they are more in the starting points. And I believe that if they get the money to do some research, they would also elaborate and research more in the CX arena. And it would be very useful. Aside of what we have in Switzerland, a Netherlands guy who is doing UX design. I just forgot his name. Cyril is quoting him quite a lot. And Werner Reinhardt, for instance, has created with his chap Kumar a variety of a quadrant where they had butterflies, the just hip hopping customers, the ones which are the resilient and unbelievable pain in the neck ones. The I want more benefit because I'm a reliable, loyal customer. So give me some benefit, and some of the others. So they have a different interpretation of the BCG metrics.
Like universities and. I am not a guy that think that I have to define something. I think everybody can define for themselves, and I think every country will define by themselves what is a good interaction and what will serve this market or the other market automatically, like naturally. Yeah, we are just trying to drive in some way, which is not easy here in Europe, but I do believe we can help, and I will be interested to know who his name later, because that will be interesting if he's working in research. We can maybe partner in the future with a university here in Germany. And that's, by the way, is one of the goals. Was my roadmap was based in also partner with universities. But there are some issues for that because all the people that are teaching university, especially in Schweiz, they are very focused in German language, so it's very difficult to get to bring them on board to work with us.
Why I honestly mentioned not the Handelshochschule Leipzig or something else, which we have as well. We have the long history in that arena, which is quite thrilling and interesting. But the Institute for Retail Research in Cologne was one of the starting points where they had since the 20s of the last century, where they did a lot of research and customer behavior and all that stuff. And he is now having, how it's called, the chair for retail and customer management. And I find this quite interesting that they are doing a combination of certain disciplines and get it to the practical, how it is in real life, that you have retail, you have industry, you have the customers, you have the behavioral approaches, which is quite interesting to make it realistic.
You said the right word, practical. Practical is the best thing, I think, in Europe. And for me, is very, to talk theoretically is very nice, but getting things done is, I think that's what the people are looking today, especially in education. So they have probably advantage there.
So what, just a bit name dropping, who as experts have you already in your initiative aligned?
I'm not sure you know them, but the older ambassadors, have Jeff, have Michael, have Silvana, that you know her, have Graham. They are all our ambassadors. Silvana and Graham are our senior advisors, and they are really the leading. I'm just here doing the talking with you, but they are the leading because they drive me in the right way.
Our audience probably knows that is Silvana Bullion and Graham Hill. If you don't know, now you do.
And you should.
Yeah. Well, both have been in our CRM convos, so that is a clue.
Yeah, I saw Silvana, I saw also Graham, but Graham I saw later. Silvana, I was visiting you during the chat. It was very cool. They are very good. They are very knowledgeable. Yes, and that helps a lot to drive the things forward.
Yeah. You a little earlier you said something interesting, like it's just picking up in, well, at least in Germany, to have a chief experience officer. So who is that? Which role do they else typically have, or what background do they typically have?
I think you also
For
mentioned
chief of
CEO as a chief customer
So
officer.
CCO, you mean?
From which background do they come? Is it more marketing? Is it more
in
service?
Europe,
Is it more IT?
my impression.
Pardon me?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you repeat? I'm sorry that I spoke.
A while ago, you said something like there's a chief customer, chief revenue, chief experience officer just more or less coming up in Germany in particular. What background do they have? Are they more marketing, more sales, more service, more IT, more general business, or where do they come from?
I don't know the entire answer, but what I pay attention, okay, that the people that are right now CCOs, they are coming from, many are coming from marketing. Sometimes they was CMOs before. Other people was vice president of services, and I think they are really connected. Like I started in CX because I was a director of professional services, and I love it to improve things. So I think those will be the backgrounds that people are coming from. But this is very, I don't know everyone, so I cannot tell you that. But what I see right now is that they really want people that understand what customer experience is about how to measure, how to create all the aspects of the experience in the company and internally, which is, in my opinion, is more important than externally. Because the result that you have outside is out of work that you make inside the company. Did this answer your question, or you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Now putting you on the spot, you have a green field. Yeah, so totally open. How would you set up a customer experience organization in a company? You have totally free reign.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
You have totally free reign, so it's a greenfield scenario. Yeah?
I can do anything that I want.
You can do anything that you want, and you are charged with setting up a customer experience organization within company. Within your company. Yeah? So what would you do? What would be your priorities? How would you set it up?
The first priority is to understand the company.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
The first priority would be to understand how the company operates with customers, as in all touch points, and how they are delivering the experience. If it's B2C or B2B, it depends on different aspects here. So then you have to understand everything. Secondly, how they are doing that, because different ways to engage customers, how you are giving value, how you are measuring the experience, all those things in the beginning. Oftentimes you find companies here in Europe that all are focusing NPS instead of focusing in a range of different measurements, etc. So I think I would do analysis first, as maybe probably the 100 first days, and then I would define a strategic plan, and then we are going to execute with a team that we're supposed to have. As there are many things you have to analyze the journeys that they are having, depending how it works. If it's, for example, in Samsung, we have analysis of every different division, and every different product works in a different way. They penetrate markets in different ways, and they want to give a different experience. And then you perceive the experience in a very different way than the other product. So there's a lot of work. Every CX program there is super complex, and you have to understand how the people are connecting with you. There are products that they don't connect with you directly because they don't need it's B2B, but there are products that are B2B, so they want to know in the spot things. There are many different things that you can do, but I never thought about answering this question before. That's a great question, I must say. But that would be my initial approach, to understand the company, as if someone hire me for being the CCO. Obviously, you have to. That's the basic thing that you have to do, and to understand the journeys. For me specifically, simplification is a big part of employee experience, right? To make people lives easier, so then they can really do what they was paid to do, and do that better because they have time then, and they can think and can create ideas for you. And also the digital experience. There's so many aspects that you work as a consultant that that's supposed is what I can tell you. For me, very important to deliver great services, to have a section in the board. This is key. As if you don't have the support of changing a culture, if the culture is not right, and you have many problems there. So this is the part of the analysis, understanding how the company is operating, because there are different companies. I can give you an example. We have companies that Samsung acquires. So there's a limit. There are different things defined. So we have to understand how they are, how their culture is working for them. Excuse me. In order to understand if you have to change something or not, or live like that because it's perfect. Okay, so that's the first thing that they focus in Samsung in that case, is about how is the culture of the company, how they are serving the employees, the partners, and the customers. That's always the focus. And different things happen in different companies they acquire, so some you have to change, some you don't have to change, and that's natural.
It's a very tricky question that Thomas asked. It's really
that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a chicken and egg question.
Yeah.
Can you have a customer service, a customer experience organization before you have a company?
Maybe you have the mindset at least.
Yeah.
You need the mindset.
Startup has all the opportunities, and the task was simple, such as no limits, just do what you love to do. And with that, one can create out of the mistakes of hundreds of organizations a perfect organization and a theoretical approach, and in an ideal world. Yeah, if you see that, for instance, Etihad Airways has done an analysis and has discovered 2,200 touch points to customer interaction. If you see that print, you get crazy. But it's overwhelming.
A lot of data.
It's very, very descriptive. It's very impressive, and it's down to the point. If you have a minimalization, then, such as, do we share the love for our customer with him not only in words but in actions? Then we come to the essential part, the practical part.
Yeah, to listen and to get things done. That's in the end of the day, everything's about listening and getting things done, as in delivering what they are expecting from you. But that's more B2C. Yes, that's
and for me, it's also with a little emotion. Whereas Thomas, we always have that internal, interesting perspective angles, such as, I want the problem sorted, and I would like to have some positive emotions with it sorted. Yeah, but at the end of the day, only a happy customer is a good vote to get new customers.
Yeah, I think happy have many definitions as well. Yes, so that's not necessarily you have to make your customer happy. You have to solve his problems. That's when the customer comes to us in any case, as in any company in the world, they are looking for you to solve their problems. If they will be happy in the process of selling and delivering, I hope will. But not always is the case, and they still with the company because they acquired, and it was a very expensive thing to implement and to integrate, etc. So I think loyalty is something very like to be happy as a customer is nice to say, but it's not the aim. The aim is really to deliver the goods for what was expected from you in terms of technology or whatever you are delivering. That's how that sounds for you.
For me, it's very cool, and if I have a positive experience and a positive emotion in combination with it, I'm not always looking for a delight. I'm happy if I get what I ordered and I get it punctually and it's properly working. Then I'm in a positive mood, and I recommend.
I just expect that.
Yeah,
okay. Me too.
The base function.
If we just go for the end of the hour to the part where you have an opportunity, what can somebody get out of a participation in ECXO? How can he, as a business organization, as an expert, or as a generally interested person, get into contact with you and get some beef out of this?
Sure. I'll just correct. I don't eat meat. So beef, maybe fish. Okay. Okay. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, we are building the. Are you
Don't
there?
get confused. Don't get confused. You're on
Okay.
solo layout.
You
You're
are
main
now
stage.
the most
You're main
important
stage
person.
now.
I was
All right, thank
for a
you.
second.
So when you come to the ECXO, obviously you have onboarding, a very short onboarding, and this is a community of people talking about different things. We are perfect? No, we are not. We are evolving all the time. All right, we are adding material there. We're still far away where we want to come, where we want to go. But the truth is, the people that are coming on board, they have expectations, okay, and they understand that we are a startup. And I think now we are going to get more engagement with the initiatives we did that I mentioned in the beginning about podcasts and things like that, and bringing people for the sessions. So we are going to gain more engagement, and as we grow, focusing our target market, which is executives, decision makers, etc., I think it will be better and better. And next year also we are launching something for business that will be a totally different kind of offer, yes, for business to engage with us in different things that we are just defining now the package. That's plus one is what they will get. They will participate in events. They will participate in. We are going to look all the time, and we're still doing that all the time. To bring people to talk there, people that are interesting, not just about inspirational, which is a nice thing to have, but it's not about inspiration. It's about how to get things done. And we brought in the past the CCO of Ericsson. We brought CDO of I think you know Mr. Marcel Volmer. He was with us. Now was Graham. So we are bringing more people as we become more attractive for speakers and those kinds of things. We want cases that are showing the problems and also the solutions. I think this brings a lot of value for people. So all those things they will get there. It's not a social media, it's kind of social media, but we are not open to just post things there. We want discussions most of the time. And we are preparing to have this in 2022. That's the idea now that I am back. Did I answer your question, or this was a bad answer?
Great answer, and I look forward to seeing how it goes.
You are invited to come, and go for it. Everybody's invited to come. It's an open. By the way, I forgot to say something. It's an open access community. It's very easy to get inside, put your data there, and it's easy if you put your data, because then the people interact with you. Otherwise, you're just there, and that's no value.
Yeah, and easy to find. Just ECXO.org.
Right. Okay. I think these has been a perfect wrap. Perfect. Famous last words, I guess.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Do you want me to say the last words?
Yeah. You did remember to record this, right?
Oh, well. It's there for eternity now. So thanks, Ricardo. Thanks everyone who participated, who was there, who attended. And
thanks so much.
See you next time. I'm ending the broadcast now, which doesn't mean that you need to leave right now, Ricardo.
But just
right.
next